age, what we desire and want out of life will change, and I think that we just have to keep that in mind. What's useful and helpful, and as my grandmother would say, retirement ain't what it was cracked up to be, let me tell you. So I think that having the mindset, whether you're a company trying to build new technology, whether you're trying to install new technology, however you're doing this, is that quality of life really is dependent on the individual and what's most important to them. Yes?
I just wanted to add on to that statement, which she was asking about. I think that there are technologies with that specifically in mind, adding to the quality of life. So, like Charlie was saying, the Trojan horse is a system where you can have the sensing and all that happen, but there are companies like Vacom and like Shiva, Celery, Presto, and the GrandCare system, where the point is that the caregivers are sending pictures, messages, emails to a touchscreen in their house. They don't know have to know how to use a computer, and yet they're being stimulated and having fun and connected with those grandchildren who really aren't going to write down and draft a letter. And so, that's exactly the point of this kind of technology. So it's great.
It's good. Yes, another question in the back.
I was a caregiver, my parents are gone. I'm here as a journalist. I'm curious to know, all of you in the audience, what drew you to district income representation?
It's a good question. Comments?
Free lunch.
Free lunch. We do that with the doctors, actually. We just... Beyond the free lunch. Yes?
I'm very interested in hearing what the state of the art is. I'm an engineer. I have degrees in electrical engineering and computer science. I also have a 31-year-old who really saved a child. So I've grown up with him and at the same time applying my trade and looking to find ways to use that technology to help him. And I'm convinced I know how to do things that can help him in a very marked way. And I'm hearing that in many respects from the broader community.
And I think that's a very good point, because many of the issues that a lot of people are faced with safety and independence, many of these systems, for example, that you see out in the tech zone really are applicable to other people who are concerned about their safety and independence as well. So I think it's a very important point to bring up. Yes?
I think that for two reasons. One is that launching a retail site and looking to potentially sell these types of products on the site. So that's from the business perspective. But from a personal perspective, another is just transcending traditions on the other side of the country, being by herself. One of the things that she's constantly said to me since my father died last year is, I don't want to leave the house. I want to continue to live in this house. I love my house. I don't ever want to leave here. And she is one of the least technically savvy people that I know. There's no computer in the house. There's very little in the home technology. And I'm curious to see if there is something out there that I can make use of with her in mind that will help me like her. One of her age drama when I lived in Vancouver that will keep us connected. And I'm really used to that. I think are very useful in like keeping myself with her in mind and keep her independent.
One of the things that I would say about that too, and we talked a little bit about adoption, is that many of those things that we're asking seniors to use, quite honestly, if you're the one using them as well, they're much more apt to use them. And because it's not seen as old, or this is just for old people. If I were to get my mother an iPhone and say, if you just do A, B, and C, and I've got one and I'm doing it too, they're much more likely, because they don't, I do the same thing. We all do the same thing. Oh, this is cool. I get a iPod Nano. I have barely used it, but it's cool and I got it. And I think that you'll find that many elements of the technologies, there's got to be something that, for those people caring for those individuals, that they're willing to use and it doesn't seem old. I think that the one thing that you take away, if you haven't heard it 50 jillion times, it's useful to hear 50 jillion and one, is don't make it come across as old. Any other thoughts or comments? I think we have maybe time for one more question. Yes, way over there.
Just a comment. The question was, why are you here?
Mm-hmm.
Something I want to point out. I'm here because I'm in the business of successful aging, but I'm here as a press. And I go to the press room. There's hundreds of press people here. some perverse resistance to covering 78 million people, 67.5 million caregivers. It is amazing to me that when I go in there on the press room, which is in the South Hall, they don't know this is here. Everybody should be here. I don't get it.
I think I think that's a great point. One of the things, and then I'm going to turn it over to Susan, one of the things that as a challenge for all of us is that you have to make it sexy. I mean, come on, 3D TV, that's sexy. Let's get the senior cyborg on the 3D TV, kicking the Terminator's butt, and you're good to go. But I think that it does go back many times to the stigma, and I think you're right. We also have a misguided perception of who has money and who is a purchaser. And I think that as we begin to realize that there's new markets out there, you're going to see hopefully some transition in that. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Susan.